Welcome to episode 1 of Creative CEO Podcast. I'm really excited to be here. This is actually the third time that I've recorded this because I'm feeling a huge sense of imposter syndrome and I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. So I've been editing and then deleting and then editing again and recording again. And today I've gone, right, you just got to sit down and record it. And whatever I record today is going out there. So let's hope that this is good. So I'll just tell you a little bit about me. My name is Georgie. I'm an artist and I specialise in horses and British countryside artwork. It was this year that I actually decided to go full time. So I've spent the last 4 years begging my husband to let me quit my teaching job. So I started teaching, I think, including my training year, it was about 7 years ago. And I trained to be an art teacher and then I moved on to special needs in the last few years. But about 4 years ago, when it was lockdown, was when I started doing art for not just for my class and my students, but doing it for me. So that's when my business kind of started. And I think ever since then, I've just been begging him and saying, I just don't want to do teaching anymore. I want to quit. I want this to be my full-time job. So my husband, he doesn't control me like we are, but we're very much a team. And my decision to quit my job obviously has an effect on him because we have joint finances. So it had to be a team decision. So we made this decision together back in May when I just decided I'd absolutely had enough. I didn't want to come back in September. And it's quite poignant actually because I'm recording this on the 4th of September. Technically, I should be in school teaching some children right now, but I'm not, which feels really nice. I felt quite smug on Monday, but I'm going to stay humble because, I might have to go back and do some supply, which I'm not like, it doesn't matter if I do. Once I made that decision, I felt like I couldn't say anything negative about my business. Like I couldn't complain about it because it was a decision that I made the choice to do this, to go for the life of self-employment. It's really hard to share the raw emotions of running a business. That's why I wanted to create this podcast, because starting a business is a really big, risky decision. And, going full time and losing that monthly secure income that you've got is another big risk. And it's going to come with ups, it's going to come with lots of downs, and it's quite hard to share that raw emotion with people that aren't in the same space as you. I'm sure that there are lots of other people out there in the exact same position as me who have a creative business and they're also a parent. And, it can be quite a lonely place, especially if you are doing it completely solo like me. I'm not in the position right now to outsource anything. You're running a business solo, plus you've got a family. Maybe you've got a partner, maybe you don't have a partner, but you will probably have some form of dependency. So this podcast is definitely coming from the angle of being a solo entrepreneur. You've got a business, you've got children, or you've got some form of dependency, and we wear a lot of different hats. So I'm going to talk to you about the mindset shift that I had to make to put myself in a position that I could go self-employed. So the first mindset shift is a money mindset. I had to really change my mindset into money is out there. You can attract money in abundance and it will come to you. It's really important that you know your self-worth and you don't downgrade your work to suit the masses. I have done this. I've offered very, very cheap portraits before, but now I know what I'm worth and I know that my people are out there because I'm now fully booked until February, and I've basically got a wait list of about 40 people for 2025. I do appreciate that there is a cost of living crisis, but it doesn't necessarily affect everyone. People still want to buy people presents. People still want to commemorate milestones and commemorate birthdays, and people will spend money on your art or your craft. And you just have to constantly believe that it will happen. Don't let the negative thoughts come into your mind. And that's what I really had to change my mindset around, was my people are out there, my people will find me, they will come to me, and I just have to stay true to myself and true to my craft. And that's what I want you to do as well. Times can be so tough, especially when you've got children. I'm in the UK, we've got very high nursery fees. You might have a child in school and school trips, school shoes. We're at the start of term now. I'm sure lots of you have had to go out and fork out for new school shoes and new school uniform. Just children in general, like they cost money all the time. Whether you're already self-employed or whether you're thinking of going self-employed, there are lots of things that you can do to keep on top of the finances and also attract money in abundance. So practical decisions that I implemented as soon as I decided to go self-employed was I had a cash flow forecast made by my husband, who is an accountant. I am absolutely shit at maths. Like, I find numbers just do not go in my head. I don't know what it is. Maybe this is a general thing with creatives, I'm not sure, but numbers and me just don't mix. But weirdly, I do quite enjoy a spreadsheet. Mine are beautiful and color coordinated. It was really important for me to get that cash flow forecast going, because I can now look ahead. I think I've got it looking ahead till March, which is the end of my tax year, and putting in all of the expenses that I predict I will have for the business, also personal expenses. So up until this point in my life, my teaching job has covered all of my personal expenses, and the business costs have come obviously out of the business, and then it's covered extra personal expenses. Now my business not only has to fund my business expenses, it also has to cover all of my personal expenses. So cracking down on what I spend was one of the most practical things that I could have done right when I started. I used to not update my spreadsheets for months, but I now update them sort of every 3 days. So what I do is I go through my bank account and I put into my spreadsheet exactly what I've spent from my business account. And then every time that I've bought something that's not tax deductible, so that's more of a personal spend, or I've transferred money into my personal bank account, I've put that down as salary, so I can track how much I'm taking for like my personal expenses as well. Now, because I'm a teacher, I've been paid up until the end of August. So even though I quit my job back in May, I've just had my last paycheck. So my end of September, I'm going to basically be paying myself my salary, and that is going to have to include car, my dog's food, for example, my petrol, all those sort of little things that add up. You need to make sure that you're putting that money aside for your personal expenses. Also, make sure in your business that you're putting aside money for your tax. I think I'm going to do a whole other episode on tax. As well as my cash flow forecast, I double checked all of my personal expenditure, so to make sure that I didn't miss anything. So I would personally go back through 12 months of your bank accounts and list absolutely everything. So every time that you've went and bought like a coffee, or every time you've went to Pets at Home and bought something for your dog or your cat or whatever, list absolutely everything that you've spent, and then divide that total cost by 12 and put a monthly amount aside. If your full-time income is coming from your business, you don't want to miss out anything that you pay for. You don't want to suddenly have a big surprise and forget that you have like a big bill that comes out, once a year. So budgeting monthly, even for things that don't happen every month, is really, really important. Also, review any subscriptions that you don't need. Mine haven't changed too much, but the only thing that I've been able to deduct was my union membership. Maybe there's things in your personal life or in your business life that you don't need anymore. So just review your subscriptions, because sometimes they can keep rolling and you forget about them. And then, even if it's just like £10 a month, like that still adds up. So the second mindset shift was around time. To set the scene, throughout the last year, I was working 2 days a week at school, and then on the Wednesday was my only day when my daughter was in nursery and I had a full day at home. And then obviously the other 4 days of the week, I was either looking after her, or sometimes I had a bit of time to myself if grandparents or my husband had her. But I was really getting quite negative, because Wednesdays for me were like my sacred day, my only day where I was completely independent. And I was notorious for saying, I've just run out of time. That's it. My one day is over. My Wednesday is finished, and that's it for another week. Once you come back from teaching, you're absolutely knackered. And on top of that, sometimes my husband works away. So there were weeks where I was completely on my own. It was a lot. Like, there was a lot on me. Now that I've made the decision to obviously quit my job, I still have the same amount to do in the week, but I've got 2 extra days where I'm independent. And what I say independent is like, I know that my daughter is in nursery, and we're not going to talk about the fact that they might be poorly, so I'm going to touch wood. So the mindset shift that I had to make when I went self-employed is I have to keep reminding myself that I have the same 24 hours, 7 days a week that everybody else does in the entire world. Difference is when you have children or a child or whatever your dependency is that you have to share that time with that child. So you still have that time, but you have to share it with somebody else, and you have to share it with someone who can't necessarily look after themselves. I've had to really stop myself from saying, I've only got 1 day or I've only got 3 days, I don't have enough time, and switch it into, okay, so I've got 2 hours and I'm going to be really, really productive. So the mindset shift has not just been about changing the narrative around time, but also really increasing my productivity. It's really hard to fit in work around your child, especially when you're sharing the time with your child. So sometimes I sit and make a reel while she's in the bath, but then I tend to use my phone. I put on a sleep playlist. I tend to put my phone on like music and leave it. And then for the last sort of half an hour, 40 minutes of her day, I'm there like playing with her, reading her a book. We're trying to potty train now. So it just swings and roundabouts. You have to fit in you have to fit in work when you can. It's okay if your working week doesn't look the same every single week. My summer and winter looks very, very different. So because I've got horses take up a lot more time in the winter. If you are going self-employed and you do feel like you're going to have more to do, not less time, you're going to have more to do in the winter, you just need to think about how you can make those hours that you've got to yourself really, really productive. So, practical decisions that I made around time. How many nursery days can we afford? If your child might not be in nursery, but can you rely on grandparents? Is there anyone else that can take your child for half a day or a day? Just have a look at your finances and think about where can you add in some independent working days. When are you most likely to create? I personally find it really hard getting myself going and creating in the night. I say the night, like in the evening. I'm an early bird, so I much prefer to wake up early, but then sort of by about 3 o'clock, I'm flagging. So it's really hard to get motivated for me in the evening. Some people are different. Some people work better in the evenings, but I like to work now in the daylight so that I can film what I'm doing. So I've changed my plans around. So in the evenings, if I am going to do some work in the evenings, then I tend to do admin or like social media and that sort of stuff. So the third mindset shift that I had to make was around growth. So in order for you to go self-employed and make your business a success, you're going to have to grow your business. In order to grow and to grow yourself as, an artist, and to grow your business, you need to push yourself out of your comfort zone and take risks, take opportunities that come your way. However, you can't attract growth into your life if you can't make space for it. It's okay to have all these ideas about your business, but not implement them right away. Like, one of my dreams is to write a children's book, and I have kind of got an idea, but I know right now that I just don't have the space for it. So I've kind of parked it, and I will know when I'm ready to make that decision. I'm a really big believer in everything happens at the right time. And I have been dreaming about getting into a gallery for the last 2 and a bit years, but until this year, I didn't have a particular style of artwork that I was doing for original pieces. I was just doing pet portraits. And it wasn't until this year, so literally in the last few weeks, I have been accepted into a gallery, which is really, really exciting. And I haven't really talked about it online because I don't quite believe it myself yet. It's happened at a time in my business where I've got like, I know what I want to draw and I know what I want to create, that opportunity, I don't believe has happened before, because I haven't really had like a style that people would relate to. So I believe things happen at the time when they should happen. The growth in your business will happen when you make space for it. So you just need to do things that feel right at the time, and the opportunities will come to you. Like, for example, if you're about to have a baby and you know that you're going to be sleep deprived for a while, you need to start thinking practically about decisions that you can make in your business to help your business continue to grow without you having to put any more effort into it, because you're going to be tired. So like setting up more automations for your business, like what practical things can you do to help your business grow whilst you're entering another phase of your life, like whether that's having a baby, or whether maybe you've got more space coming into life. Maybe your child's going to school and the space in your life is increasing, so you can put more into, you can do something that you haven't done before. So whether your space in your life is like getting smaller or getting bigger, like your business can still grow and develop. You just need to think about what you are able to put into your business to help your business grow at that time of your life. So these are some practical decisions that I made when going self-employed. So first of all, I got myself a big sheet of paper, and I just wrote out all of the potential income streams that I can make from my art. I crossed out the ones that I didn't want to even want to entertain. Art tutorials online, not for me. I've done my art teaching. Maybe I'll do it in the future, but right now that's just not something that I really even want to entertain. So I was like, right, I'm going to cross that out. That's not for me. The ones that you want to do but are just not in the right space for right now, I've just put on the back burner. And then the ones that I know that I've got space for is what I'm trying to implement. So for me, it's podcasting, it's YouTube. Those are the things that I'm trying to grow, as they're completely new. And then I'm continuing to push my originals and my prints. And obviously the gallery is now something that was always on my list, and that's new as well. That's happening. And then I also thought about automating processes. When it comes to like sales and stuff, I want everything to be automated, and I want there to be like an automated email system for when somebody first signs up to my mailing list to try and get them to buy, like a unique discount code, for example. So these are all like practical decisions that I started making to improve my growth. And the mindset around it is about making space for that growth and not feeling like you have to do everything at the same time. So I'm just going to recap those mindset changes, because even though I've given you some practical advice that you can do, I think you changing your mindset is actually more important, because the practical things will come to you as and when, but the mindset is something you have to practice every single day to change the outcome of, attracting everything into your business that you need to help it be successful. So money mindset shift is, there is money out there. Your people will find you. Don't undervalue your work. Your clients will come to you, and there is money in abundance. Like the nice thing about having a business is there is no ceiling. There is no cap to how much you can earn. Like it will come to you. You just have to believe that that money will come to you, and then put in the practical steps to making that money, but just constantly believe that it's going to come to you, and your people will find you, I promise. Time mindset is, you have the same 24 hours, 7 days a week as everybody else. And because you have children or a child or whatever you have in your life that takes up a lot of your time, you are not losing business time. You're just having to share time. Stop being negative around time and just learn how to be more productive in the independent hours that you've got. My time management advice is, don't fill your independent hours that could be really productive business time with household chores. Leave them for when your children are around. The third mindset shift is around growth. So in order to have a successful business, you do need to continue to grow, but you need to allow space in your life to grow. So, what can you do practically that will help you free up some of your time? What can you do? What is it in your life that you want to do which you don't have space for right now? Don't feel like you have to achieve absolutely everything in one go. Your business will grow, but you need to allow the space for that growth. Just to finish on this note is, don't ever feel judged about the decisions you make. Like, if you want to spend time running your business and you need to send your child off to their grandparents for the day, like, I know it's so easy, and I flip between feeling guilty and then not feeling guilty all the time. If your child is growing up with you running a business, like, what a fantastic role model you are to your child if you are able to run a business alongside being a really, present and thoughtful parent. Like, what a fantastic role model you are. I don't feel like running a business and being a parent has to be one or the other. Like, there are definitely ways of having it all and building the life that you want to build. So finally, I want to hear from you. What are your biggest struggles around productivity? Maybe you find it hard to stay off social media. Maybe you've got children and they don't go to nursery and you've only got nap times. What are your current struggles around productivity? And I will use your questions to help influence what I say in my next podcast. Episode 2 is going to be all around practical ways to be more productive when time is in short supply. Thank you so much for listening. I hope to see you next time. Bye.